computer, and then I'll put it up later just so that you guys know what I'm doing. So I'm going to be using Lovely since that was from our last workshop, and I still have quite a few sheets of it left. And I'm going to be using,
Hey, Mom.
what?
I just have to show them.
Okay, show them that paper. Yep.
Oh, yeah, I see the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, okay, keep it over there now, okay? So we're going to be cutting.
Okay.
Okay, so, and then you're going to want one coordinating cardstock and a light cardstock. Hello. Glad you could join us.
Is that Dalen?
Yes.
Hi.
Yep, that's Dylan, I think.
Sorry, I'm just typing to Ann. Oh, geez,
Welcome.
I forgot it's a Zoom.
Yeah, so Dalen is who I introduced you to yesterday, Dawn.
Yeah, and we've been having a chit chat back and forth for the last day. So thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
So, Dalen, what I've been saying is that I'm going to be using our Lovely paper, which I think, I don't know if I'm going to be using this one. This is the Lovely paper packet, and this is available to us year-round until September next year. So I might actually.
I'll copy paste the cut instructions into chat for you as well, Dalen.
Okay. And I have to be in and out, but I'll catch what I can.
That's fine. Perfect. So I think my screen is back up. So I'm having internet issues, so I apologize now. I'm having to use my Spotlight or my hotspot for my computer. So I'm going to be using Lovely just because I have extra of it. And some coordinating cardstock is the Sage, and then you're going to want, you could use, if it's light enough, then you could use this for both the inside and the outside. But I kind of want linen. This is linen, not daisy. I kind of want a softer, I don't want that bold white daisy look that we have. I kind of want a soft white, an off-white. So I'm going to use linen, which is one of the coordinating cardstocks for Lovely. And I'll show you where I'm going to use those. So here's my example. So this is the birthday card I made. And so I just made a belly band for this card. And you can either put like a window here or you can use a belly band. But what you're going to do is you're going to open it up and you're going to have some pretty paper here and here, and of course on the outside. And then you can either stamp in here or put thin cuts, whatever you'd like to embellish with, stickers. But the bulk of it are these little strips, and I'll show you that they slide. Okay, so you can see some of my hidden messages back here. But the way the hidden message card works, and Sharon has one of these in the box that she won from the crop, but they open and there's a whole new section.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one hidden message. Now there's two. So now you fold it back on the back side, and there's the other one.
Oh, cute.
So there's two hidden messages. These are great for like if you're wanting to surprise somebody with like a trip or with some, you know, like a gift certificate, and you don't have the gift certificate, but it's just like word of mouth type of gift certificate, that kind of thing.
I'm making a card for my dad.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're making a card for Dad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Lovely paper pack for here and then here. And then these little squares, I don't know if I'm going to be using thin cuts or whatnot yet, but then for these strips is where I'm going to use the linen. So let's go ahead and start cutting. I haven't cut anything yet because I wanted to cut it with you. It's super easy, super fast. So we're going to go ahead and cut an 8" by 5½. So that's 8 by 5½. So you're going to need your trimmer. You're going to need an X-Acto knife if you feel more comfortable with an X-Acto knife and a ruler, or you can just use your trimmer, and I'll show you how I use my trimmer for that step. And you're going to need a score tool. So I'm going to go ahead and trim mine at 8 inches. I need to get the score tool off. Okay, and then by 5.5. And you're just gonna set the other two aside. If you wanna use those other two for the strips, then that's perfectly fine. So here's my 8 by 5.5. And I chose 8. So our final card will be 5.5 by 4 inches. So it's not gonna be the 4 1/4, but it'll be close. And the reason why I did that is because it's easier to divide 4 into 2 sections or 4 sections instead of 4 1/4 into 4 sections. So let me know when you guys are ready to move on to score this and finish cutting this sheet.
I pre-cut all these, so I'm good.
Okay. I may have messed up on a couple of them, but it's just trimming down. They'll be too big, Corey. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna move in. So we have 8 inches. I'm gonna do 2 inches each. Okay, so I'm gonna move into, so I have a scoring tool
Mom,
on my board.
I'm gonna write into my dad's car.
Okay, why don't you come over here and you can write in Daddy's card, okay?
Okay.
Whoa,
Yep,
So this
everything just,
this is on the one we just cut, Don?
yes, the one that you just cut,
Okay.
this is the 8 inch by 5.5, and you're gonna score along the 8 inch. So it's gonna be a 2 inch by 5.5 that you're gonna score. So because I have my scoring tool, I'm just gonna leave it on my board and move it over.
Oh,
And you're
Dawn,
gonna want, yes,
I'm just trying to, so I was following this, but I want to make sure I got this right. So I pre-cut also, but I pre-cut at 8.5. So you're saying I need to cut that down to 8?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it'll give you a better size and a more manageable,
Okay.
We'll have to get that scoring tool. I'm still using the X-Acto knife.
yeah, this thing is amazing. So I'm gonna score 2 inches all the way across the 8 inch. So I have 4 2 inch by 5.5 inch sections. So I'm gonna score it 2, 4, 6.
Okay.
We're not gonna fold it yet.
It doesn't matter which side we score it on?
No, so it just depends on if you want the dark side on the outside or you want the dark side on the inside. And you
Okay.
can fold it whatever way you want, really.
Yeah, it just does it a little bit differently.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put my, I haven't decided yet, but I left the light side up on mine. I will probably put the dark side on the outside because that's typically what I do. Okay, and you guys let me know when you're done with that. We're done with scoring.
Okay.
So if you have your tool and you like to remove it like I do because it gets in the way, then you can. We are going to turn this sideways. And I'm going to measure this. Hold on. I'll let you guys catch up. Give me a second. Yes, honey.
See my finger.
Oh, that's silly, honey. Okay. 1.3. Okay, so now we're going to trim. You're going to flip it around so that we're starting, and this is where you can use an X-Acto knife. We're only cutting in these center sections here, and we're going to cut 3 lines. Okay, they're all going to be, sorry, I have to do some math. 1 3/8 of an inch, or Yep, 3/8 of an inch. Oh, yes, thank you. You want me to close it? Okay, so 1 3/8. And you're gonna do that all the way along, but you're only gonna cut along this center section. Okay,
No.
and that is so that you can weave. So we're gonna weave these little flaps in and out of here. So you need 4 sections to weave them in and out.
Well,
I don't-
we're only cutting between 2-inch and 4-inch.
Correct.
Okay.
So you're only cutting the center section here. Okay, so from 2 to 4-inch, 2 to 4, and 4 to 6, you're gonna cut that whole center section. Those 2 center
Oh, we're gonna
sections.
cut right through that fold line?
Yep, you're gonna cut right through the fold line.
Oh.
Okay, what was it, Dawn? 1 and what? How many eighths?
1 3/8. So if I take that off, here's my folds. Here's what we're doing. See how we're keeping that fold, but we're cutting right across it. So you have 4 openings. And this is what's going to give you your secret message.
Okay.
Okay, so 1 3/8. And so what I do is I line my cutting board up right on my score line. And then I push down so it actually cuts it. And then I move it slowly across and I look at it directly above until I meet the other score line. So I went right across one score line into the next and I stopped. Now I'm not going to touch these 2 outer sections, just the 2 middle. Okay.
I just clean.
You can move with that, yeah. And then you're going to move it. It's too stinky. Okay.
How do you tell where the line is in the cut?
I don't know. I lifted my bar and I see it, but
Yeah, it's-
Okay.
for me,
Okay.
I have, so my tool, my cutting board, let me show you. My cutting board has a line, hopefully it'll focus for you guys, right across the middle section here, and it goes right across. So
Oh,
I can actually
okay.
see, and then there's a little notch here right in the middle. So I actually know exactly where I'm cutting, where
Okay.
and that lines up with your knife at the bottom.
right,
So that's what
and the cutting board has the measurements going horizontal also, so.
Right. So you could always line it up right here with 2 and go all the way to 6, right? Because we're cutting those 4 inches. And then mine has that nice bar that Sandra was talking about.
I thought we only did 2 inches from 2 to 4.
You have to do the whole center section right across that fold line.
Yeah, we're going 2 to 6.
2 to
2 to
6,
6.
okay. I
Yeah.
didn't
From
go-
2
I didn't-
from 2 to 6, just reiterate this for me, please, because
Okay. So you're cutting along the 8 inches, okay? So across our fold lines. And you're starting at 2 inches and you're cutting to 6 inches. So you're starting at our first fold line, our first score line, and you're cutting to the last score line. So you're only cutting in between the score lines. You're not cutting the 2 edge flaps. And this is at 1 3/8 inches.
Okay, got it.
Does that make sense, Susan?
well,
I
I'm
got
gonna cut it and we'll see if it works.
Okay.
If not,
And then-
start over.
I've got other.
And then you're gonna cut the same down. So we're gonna move another 1 3/8 inch. So I'm gonna move mine up 1 inch and then I'm gonna count 3/8. 1, 2, 3, it becomes 2 3/4.
Do that again.
Yeah,
2 and
So-
3/4?
Yeah, it's 2 3/4 is your next one. So what I did was
Alright.
I started at 1 3/8. I moved up an inch, so now I'm at 2 3/8. Now I'm gonna move 3/8 more. So 1, 2, 3, and that's 2
If I
and
just measure it, it's 2 3/4, right?
right.
Okay. For me, that's easier just to line it to 2 3/4.
Yeah, I don't do math that quickly in my head, so I have to like physically count it out. It's almost like counting on my hand. And you're gonna cut the same thing. You're gonna cut only those 2 middle sections. So you're gonna cut from 2 to 6 again.
Okay.
And then you're gonna do it again. So I'm gonna move 1 inch and 3/8. So 1, 2, 3. So that's 4 1/8.
4 1/8.
And I'm gonna cut from 2 to 6. Okay, so now you should have pretty equal 4 sections down, just your middle section. Okay. So I have 4 cuts. Are we all good?
We should have 4 cuts or 3 cuts?
I'm sorry, 3 cuts.
Okay.
3 cuts, 4 sections.
Okay,
Corey was
right.
listening.
Okay, and before we move our trimmer, we're gonna just go ahead and trim the other portions.
What am I doing?
You're silly, sis. So I'm gonna start trimming my pieces that go inside of this. Yes, I see you, honey. So I'm gonna trim down my linen. And so each one of these sections is 2 inches wide. Okay, so you wanna you can either keep it 2 inches and keep it as wide as you can, these strips, or you can trim it down. I usually like to trim things down 1/4 when I do this kind of stuff, so I have a border. So you could trim it down 1/4 inch. That way you have 1/8 of an inch on either side for a border on these 2 sides anyway, because you're gonna cover up the other sides. Or if you want it to fill this entire gap, trim it down to like 1 15/16. You're gonna want some wiggle room because you're gonna have to weave this in there, and it's difficult to do if it's right on. So just trim it down just a little smidge if you want it to fill the entire section.
So you do 1 3/4 usually?
I usually do 1 3/4 because it's 2 inches across.
For the border, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that you have a nice border and it has a little bit of wiggle room so that you can move it. Getting that thing in, if it's too tight, it's really, really hard to do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and trim at 1 3/4. And then again at 5 1/2, and that'll give me 2 sections. And I want it to go, you can have it go all the way down. I'm gonna have it go all the way down my card from 5 1/2 to 0 to 5 1/2. You can, if you want to maintain that 1/8 of an inch on the top and bottom, then trim it down to 5 1/4. And if you mess up, these are removable. You can always use these strips for something else.
So 5 1/2 by 1 3/4.
Yes. And you're gonna need 2.
Okay.
And that's where your hidden message is gonna go, or on these. So you want them light colored and not necessarily busy like this unless you wanna put,
Something on top of it or something.
yeah, you don't really wanna do that because the way that it unfolds to get the hidden messages, it's gonna snag. So you wanna be,
Okay.
you wanna be cautious of putting things on top of this.
Okay.
Now this on top of the cardstock that we already cut, that's a whole nother story because you're not moving it and it's not going to interfere with your message.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim my lovely paper. So I'm going to start by trimming down my zip strip. Okay, so here's my zip strip. I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to use that probably later on something else. And then these ones, I'm going to do the same, except for I'm going to do 5 1/4 because these are going to be these strips here on the edge strips. Okay, so these are the decorative strips that you're going to see when you first get the card, and when you open the card, that's what you're going to see on the sides. So I'm going to cut 4 of those, and it's going to be 1, 1 by 5 1/4. So 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to cut 4 of those. So I'm going to go ahead and trim 2 of the 1 3/4 strips, and then I'm going to cut them into 5 1/4. So I'm going to rotate it 5 1/4. And 5 1/4. Okay, so now I can use either side of those. So you can use one side for inside the card, one side for outside the card. Again, I'm doing a 1 3/4 inch by 5 1/4. And another paper pack that this card would be really pretty with is Serenity, I believe.
I think you're right.
I'm
When I
thinking
was cutting mine, I was thinking, darn, I wish I had Serenity. I planned on
just-
ordering that next month.
I just got Serenity, but I always, with these card shops, I never use the good paper. I always use mock-up paper because I make so many mistakes and I don't want to, so then I'll come back and do it.
I do the same thing, Ann.
Do you? I don't want to use this good paper and mess it up. So I want to.
I
No,
don't make
my card.
mistakes.
I was gonna say, not that I ever mess up.
Right.
So now I have 4 strips at 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. And I have 2 light colored cardstock strips that are 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. Okay. So this is really the only part that you're going to need your Tombow or your adhesive. I have my Tombow, so I'm going to go ahead and use my Tombow. But you're going to go ahead and start folding your card. So let's go ahead and fold it. I'm going to fold the 2 edges in first. And you are going to want to fold along that center line because that's where your hidden message is going to be. So I'm going to actually fold, since I folded these 2 in, I'm going to fold the center one back because that's your primary message. Okay, that's how you're going to get your primary message. And this is the functionality of this card. So this is how it's going to move. Is one message will be one way, showing one card, and the other message will be the other way. Okay. Well, we'll see that when we actually.
Okay, so the center will be folded both ways.
Right. So because you're going to fold it for your primary message, hidden message, it's going to be folded opposite of your outside fold. But for your other message, for your other secret message, since this is a double secret message card, it's going to fold. Let me show you on my well folded one. You're going to fold it out, and this is where your other message is going to be. So you have one message where you're going to fold in and flip it open, and you're going to have one message where it folds out and flip it open. Okay. So you're just going to want to crease that center one pretty well because it is going to move both ways. So you can crease it one way, and then you can fold it back the other way as well and crease it because this is your second hidden message card. Okay. Are we good there?
Mhm.
So it should be folded so that you have a centerfold open card. And you guys let me know when you're ready to move on.
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
good.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the outside of my card, and I'm just gonna put adhesive on my 2 5 1/4 inch strips. So they're all 1 3/4 by these ones are the 5 1/4. So I'm gonna adhere it onto these like this. So my flowers are gonna be on the outside. I think that's how I want it. Or I could have it so my plaid is on the outside. But I think I want my flowers on the outside. So I'm gonna go ahead and just use my Tombow. If you have a glue stick, great. Whatever you have for glue.
Okay. I missed the whole last 5 minutes.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go and I'll just watch the replay.
Okay, I'll have it up. So since my computer's not really working with the internet right now, the internet's down here and it's on my hotspot, I will have this up hopefully by tomorrow on the group. So,
All
I
right.
apologize.
Okay. Bye.
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 Or take it with you. I'll meet you and play with it later.
All right.
Okay.
It's your dad's fault.
It's always Dad's fault. Okay, so there's my 2 outside pieces. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and open it up and I'd like to do a different one on the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my yellow plaid on the inside.
Dawn, while you're taping, I have a totally unrelated question.
Uh-huh.
How are you filming what you're doing right now? I see you have a tripod. So do you have like your phone on Zoom as well as your computer on Zoom?
Yeah, so I always have my phone and my tripod on Zoom.
Okay.
My computer is my host. So that's how you see my face. And of course, my daughter is always my helper. But I always spotlight my phone so that when you guys speak, it doesn't like bring you up in the middle of me doing something here until the very
Gotcha.
end. And then I'll drop my spotlight so that if you guys have questions, then I can actually physically see you and I can answer them.
Mom,
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mommy's hair clip.
Oh,
You can see it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my other yellow one on the other side. Okay. And now we're gonna weave your 5 1/2 by 1 3/4. You okay?
yeah, that scared me.
I bet it did. Into this. So it doesn't matter which way you start, you just have to do the opposite on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna start by putting this on top, going under the second one, on top of this third one, and under the fourth. And you're not gonna glue these down. They're not gonna be glued. And the reason being is because you want these to have the ability to move back and forth, because your hidden messages, there's gonna be something here and your hidden message is actually gonna be on the back side right here. Okay, the way this card moves. So, and when I gave my husband his for his birthday, he actually pulled the strips out. He got tired of trying to find the message. And he pulled the strips out. So you can always refer him to a video. I'll have a short video on my Facebook that you guys can use as reference for whoever you're sending these to, just so that they don't have to pull. Like he pulled these all out and he was like, okay, which way did they go? And he's looking at the different messages, trying to make sense of it. It was kind of comical. So the next one, you're gonna wanna do the opposite. So since I put this one on top on the first, I'm gonna put it on the bottom. Nice, sis. And then over the second one, under the third, and over the fourth. And there is your hidden message card. Now you can embellish these as much or as little as you want, and I will show you how to actually do this. So what you're gonna do to get the next message is you're gonna fold it in half, and you're gonna peel that middle back so that it shows something totally different. Okay, so let me just put his back in here so that hopefully I get it correctly. I think that's how it goes. And then the candy goes, where's the other strip, sis? Do you see it?
It's there.
No, the other yellow. What happened to mommy's other yellow? You see it?
Here.
Oh, that's baby shark. I don't need baby shark. Did it fall? Well, I gotta find my other strip. So I'm gonna just use one of these because I don't see it. So just so you guys can see the movement of this. So there's one side. When I close it and I open it up, so it starts peeling away in the middle. You just open it up and there's the other message.
Oh.
Okay. Now, when I do it the other way, I made his 6 inches because I didn't put it in an envelope. When I do it the back side, you're gonna fold it completely in half and it'll just automatically start peeling away and you just peel it open. So there's all kinds of candy in there. And I use the Got Candy because his birthday is the day before Halloween. So it worked really well and his favorite color is orange. So it worked well with him. But there's your 2 messages. So there's 2 secret messages. Wish I could find my other little strip. There it is.
Now, how will they know to pull the
The middle.
well, to read the messages? How will they know to pull that white thing? The white
So you're
cards?
gonna have to make them like allude in your card to there's more. So what I did in his was I put a poem in there from Jack Skellington because that's one of his favorite movies. Is Nightmare Before Christmas. And since this was Got Candy and his birthday so close to Halloween, it was pretty fitting. But I have these backwards, but I put a poem and then I put ... like there's more, you're just missing it.
Downward
And then
arrow.
so then he started peeling it apart, so I finally showed him that that's all you had to do. I will put a little, like a 1-minute thing on my Facebook, and you can always put a little sticky note if you need help finding the message, go here. And I'll put the link on my Facebook for you guys so that they know how to open these cards. But these are called hidden message cards. They're all over Facebook and Pinterest and YouTube as well. But a lot of people don't know this one, this back one, that's a hidden message as well. So you're just gonna want to go through the different hidden messages. So here's your first layout. You're just gonna embellish this. Then what I did was I went to my next hidden message, or my first hidden message. I opened it up, I embellished the inside. Mine was really simple. I just used the paper as embellishments. Then when I turned it over and I wanted the secret message here, I just did candy stamps. So he gets more candy, basically. So that's all I did on the back.
I
So
think
if
I
you have
saw
any-
there was a thin cuts, like index tab cutter. Would that work on here? Like to make a little tab or no?
A little tab for what?
Like
Like to
could you-
pull?
yeah, if you're gonna pull it. Or do you not really have to pull anything, it looks like?
It just like separates in the middle.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking you could pull it up and see more, but I get it now. Never mind. Erase that. Delete, delete, delete.
But no, that's an interesting idea. What you could do is you could put something like on these inner things, you could put something coming out here that says pull this way, and this one saying pull that way, and just tape it here,
Okay.
right? So then you have, because this inner tab, you just put the pull strip here. And that's not going to interfere with much, right? So that's interesting.
My other
we could-
thought was if you have, I'm trying to pull mine out. If you have the little Polaroid zinc or I know there's a couple little tiny handheld printers like this.
Yeah.
That you could, I'm thinking I'll cut pictures and put them on the little, That would be
Yeah.
an embellishment.
Yeah, and that would be fun, especially for, I know Susan does a lot of pictures in her cards, and that would be fun. See, this is what you could do. So I just cut a sticky note, a Post-it note, just so that you
Okay.
guys can see what she's talking about. But so I stuck this one. I folded it out. So I did the first hidden message, and I just stuck it on that hidden message part here. Then I folded it back, and all you'd have to do is just say, put this tab over and say pull that way, and put this one over and say pull that way. Then when they fold it, they know to pull. So that's a great idea. Thanks for the idea. I didn't even think about that. My husband just took these out and started reading. And then he got confused because he didn't know which order they went in. So, but that's a good idea. So you can do pull tabs, similar to this, where it'll highlight which way they need to pull.
And since I'm brand new and just was introduced to this yesterday, I feel like I've looked at the whole website like 5 times already because I'm so excited.
Good.
But there's little stamps that you could stamp with, right? Just to embellish.
Exactly.
I mean, I have
Yeah.
lots of other stamps and stuff, but
Yeah, so you can use whatever stamps you have on hand, or we have tons of little stamps. Most of our stamp sets have big stamps with little stamps.
that's what I thought.
So
Okay.
you can always do that. Or if you have like the teeny type stamps, which is one of our lettering stamps, you could always hand do your lettering on them. It almost looks like a typewriter stamp in my opinion. But and there, we do have some of the Story by Stacy has great little stamps for these. Because her stuff is really small anyway, and so you want little things to go in those 4x4 albums.
I think
And
that's
so-
what I was thinking, because that's what I
Yeah.
think I'm going to buy first.
Yeah, and Story by Stacy is great. Anne can tell you all about that. She's
Okay.
a Story by Stacy expert. She's been doing it quite a while, and her albums have turned out great. See what else. Let me go get a stamp set to show you an example. By the way, before I do that and before I forget, Black Friday, there's going to be a sale starting at 3 p.m. Mountain Time, going until Saturday at 11:59 Mountain Time PM. So it's a day and a half of sale there. And then there's another one starting at 3 p.m. on Monday for Cyber Monday. I don't know what's in the sales, but I know that some items are 50% off. So I'm just letting you know,
And
Dalen,
you
so
just
that
wait.
you may want to wait to see what's off.
Okay.
But let me go get a stamp set to show you.
So Anne, it sounds like I want to see some of your albums with your storyteller stuff.
Yeah, that was what I was showing you yesterday, the album.
Oh, it was that cute rainbow album.
For Tyler. So
Yes.
this is Story by Stacy.
Okay, I get it now.
Everything's really little.
Yes.
Of course, I
Okay.
use a lot of other embellishments besides close to my heart, But that's kind of, you get the paper, you get this small paper from them.
And the story starters are pretty cool in that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love this because the scrapbooks are overwhelming. They're just too
Yes.
big.
Okay,
I
very
have-
cool. I get it. Got it. Okay.
I use my photo
Exciting.
printer, but
Well, especially if you're giving them as a gift.
yeah, it's just too much for me to do the
The
big
large
one,
ones,
you
yeah.
know. I feel like I'd never get the project done.
And I